I'm your host, Buck Wylam, and tonight we're going to have a good time tonight. We're going to talk about something that afflicts us all. We're going to talk about something that we've all ran into before. We're going to talk about something that we all need to check, and that's called Negroes with Egos. Negroes with egos. Negroes with egos. Negroes with egos. This is a this is a Rick Moon production. Rick Moon did all the research. Rick Moon did all of the footwork. Rick Moon did all of the detective work. So Rick Moon is going to start us off with some Negroes with egos. How you doing tonight, Rick?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Buck, I'd like to say hello to all the people out there. And I just want to say a few things before I get started.
Rick, before you get started, Rick, let me bring in, ladies and gentlemen, we had to get some West Coast love out here. We down here in the Southeast, and the West Coast is about 1,800 miles away from us. So we brought in a young man from the West Coast who's going to be joining us from the West Coast. He's going to be sharing his wit, his logic, his common sense with us. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf,
All
what's
right,
going on,
how y'all
brother?
doing?
What's
How
up,
y'all
brother?
doing out there? What's up, brother Rick and brother Buck?
Um,
Brother Buck, the way the show started, man, I thought I had the wrong number, man. I thought this was the Love Doctor. You sound so smooth, brother.
oh, you like that? You like Deborah Laws?
Oh man, you sound so smooth, brother. Like you got a little sister cognac in your hands talking, man.
Oh, no, man, I got a fifth of knowledge in my hand, and we about to pour it up on the people right now.
Douse me.
Well, you about to be doused. Well, without any further ado, Rick is going to give us how Negroes can check their egos. Take it away, Rick.
Okay.
All right. Like I said earlier, the reason why I came up with this is because lately on Facebook and on other avenues and stuff, there's been a lot of talk by people that are not members of African Americans Ain't Africans, saying, things about us and, calling us things that we're not. And maybe I'm kind of defending, but I'm gonna do more than just defend. I think what I'm doing is try to enlighten people, on things that happen within our own people. We have a lot of people that have really huge egos, and anyone who tries to challenge those egos, they would try to break down or make them look bad. But anyway, I'm gonna read this. This is what one of our detractors said about us in a letter, and I just want you to, when you hear this, I want you to. Does this sound like consciousness, or does this sound like a guy with an ego problem? But anyway, I'm gonna read this. The guy says, "Attention, everyone. Stay away from the AAA cult. African Americans Ain't African. These people are nothing but backbiters."
That's actually 4 A's, though. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
And
That's
even
actually 4 A's. That dude can't count. AAA is a service that come pick your car up.
No, quadruple A.
Oh, quadruple A, okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay,
that's
sorry, brother Rick. Sorry about that, man.
Yeah.
I just try to, I don't want nothing to get past us, man, All right.
Okay, I'm going to start again. Attention, everyone. Stay far away from these quadruple A cults. These people are nothing but backbiters and even sent threats to other people who are exposing them for the wicked niggas they really are. This is an example of a black cult pretending to be Indian. I already told you that these people are biased against pale-looking Indians, believing they are the real Indians. After reading the comments from these people, they are straight up evil. Getting upset because we teach the transatlantic slave trade happened and you deny it. Who cares? Live with it. And there are natives of African ancestry. Stop lying to the people, you quadruple A cultists. You've been exposed, and there are any African American and African spies in this forum. I don't give a rat's ass. Tell them what I said. Don't blame others for the dirt you get. It's the negativity you attracted to your own damn self. Keep on doing your thing, Chief Langley, and pay no mind to these African American and African demons. They are truly one thing I don't like. Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Don't blame others for the dirt you get. It's the negativity you attracted to your own damn self. Keep on doing your thing, Chief Langley, and pay no mind to these quadruple A demons. They are going to keep getting exposed for the black devils they truly are. One thing I don't like are brainwashing cults telling, let us keep learning our indigenous culture, heritage, roots, and ignore these bogus quadruple A cultures. Now, what I find, in what this particular person said is, it doesn't sound like a conscious person to me. It sounds like a person with an ego, and but I'm not going to make that judgment on him. But I'm just going to call it how I see it.
Well, how do you see that that's an ego problem? How is that an ego problem? Why do you see that that's an ego problem and not consciousness?
The lack of consciousness, right?
Okay. Before I explain that, let me give a couple of definitions here, and then I'll explain that. Okay. I looked up the word ego, and I found this definition from the Urban Dictionary. This particular one, and it says, ego, the part of you that defines itself as a personality, separates itself from the outside world, and considers itself a separate entity from the rest of the nature and the cosmos. Perhaps necessary for survival in some evolutionary bygone in modern times, it leads only to misanthropic beliefs and delusion. Okay? And it goes on to say, ego is responsible for hate, fear, and delusion. And here's also 10 words that are like synonyms to ego. We got egotistical, arrogant, penis, cocky, asshole, douche, douchebag, pride, stupid, dick.
What was the last one, Rick?
Dick.
So what's
now I want to talk about what I want to talk about is the hate, the fear, and the delusion part, because that's basically what ego is. And if you listen to that quote that I just read, you will see the hate, you will see the fear, and you'll also see the delusion. And so I also looked up the word consciousness, and when you talk about consciousness, sometimes it can be deceiving because it depends on how the word conscious is used in the particular sentence. Because sometimes to me, conscious means conscience. You know, somebody trying to run a game on you and telling you that you know that it's something that's, you know, in nature or whatever. But anyway, I looked up the word consciousness and it says awareness or perception, inward, psychological or spiritual fact, and intuitively perceive knowledge of something in one's inner self. Inward awareness of an external object, state, or fact. Concern awareness. Interest concern. Often used with an attributive noun. The state or activity that is characterized by sensation, emotion, volition of thought, mind in the broadcast possible sense. Something in nature that is distinguished from the physical. The totality or psychology of sensations, perceptions, ideas, attitudes, feelings of which an individual or group is aware of any given time or within a particular time span. Compare stream of consciousness. Now, when I read that little piece, I didn't see none of that in it from this definition of consciousness. So,
well, let me ask you a question, Rick.
Go ahead.
Why does the ego? Because in many times, African American, Black, Negro people, in many times in the rise or their ascent of trying to shake the shackles of white supremacy off of themselves, the ego always rears its ugly head. Every time, Nation of Islam, the King movement, just every time it's like it's impossible for us to get together and do something constructive for not only ourselves, the group. Why does the ego rear its ugly head in those situations the most?
I think because most people, when they join these organizations or whatever, and they find something that they feel that puts them on top, because I think ego, one thing there's responsible ego, one symptom of ego to me is greed. And I think people get a little selfish and greedy because somebody put them on top, and so they just take the first thing that comes slamming without even checking into it. You know, I've done that myself because I haven't always been the person that I was, but I always kept a clear, open mind. But people, Negroes with egos, don't seem to do that. They get stuck on one thing, and whatever they say goes.
So maybe that's one of the reasons why the so-called African American is not as progressive as some other groups. Is it that ego that's blocking us from being progressive?
Of course it does. Because I mean, you know, here it is. All of us, you know, us here at African American, they African, and a lot of the other chat groups or whatever, we all got the same problem. And it's not each other. I mean, we're not a problem to them. That's just their perception of it. We didn't do any of the things that this guy is talking about. That's not us. You know, unfortunately, as a matter of fact, I mean, we have, in African American, we have over 4,000 members. We don't know everybody in the group personally. And I also may add that most of our members are very knowledgeable. And their opinion count with us. So, you know, if someone, you know, gets into a squabble or something with one of those, I mean, that's a reflection of the whole group?
No, it's not. Area code 605-562-3140. AfricanAmericans.org. Go check us out. We're changing our stuff around over here at African Americans Ain't African so we can be more available to the whole wide world, because so many people, once they say the name African American Ain't African, they get that paused look in their face like, now what is that about? And once they start doing a little digging, they find out that it's true. Come check us out over in Facebook. We're in the African American Ain't African chat room. Come with it over there, because like Rick just said, we have a knowledge of people with a whole bunch of information, and they dropping it over there in the chat room. So come over and check us out. Lone Wolf, what do you think about Negroes with egos?
Well, me personally, I could tell you about experience I had, man. You know, I was married a while back. I'm divorced now. And my ex-wife, her and her family, they Belizean. So, you know, my dad, he passed away some time ago. So when I was with my ex-wife before we got married, you know, I used to, you know, hang out with her father sometime, and, you know, we'd talk, and like he'd help us with projects, maybe like roofing and the floor for our new pad that we had. So while we'd talk, you know, I'm all ears. I always try to like listen to the elders and see what they have to say, any knowledge, any gems. So, you know, I'm always listening to them, and yes, sir. Mm-hmm. But I always noticed whenever I had anything to say, something I could be well, you know, well read about, you know, I know to a T, he had always, well, no, I don't think so. It's okay to debate or something, but I promise everything I said, he always shot it down. And that kind of made me stop, you know, listening to him. I know you should always be able to take something positive from anything somebody has to say, but it just made me put up that barricade. You know I'm hurting myself because, like I said, I could be learning some more stuff from him. But, you know, I think it's a two-way street, man. You don't have to stand on your high horse and always shoot somebody down. I think it's a give and go thing, you know. It's a
So what about the reverse? What about the reverse aspect of that? So the person standing up, shouting down at somebody. What about the person that's getting shouted at?
They tend to.
Where is their ego? Where is their ego in the mix? Or Rick, you can jump in that too.
Okay, but I was saying, like I said, you know, I think I could have just still took whatever he had to say for what it was, as opposed to just kind of. I didn't shut him down, of course, because, like I said, you know, he is the elder. But I noticed that I stopped hanging around as much. So, do you think that has anything to do with it? Is that ego, you think, Rick? You think he had ego, my ex-father-in-law? You guys there?
Rick, you there? Well, I'm sure he had an ego.
No, not necessarily. I mean, you know, most people that got egos, they a lot of them, you know, everything that they say, and as a matter of fact, I'm gonna talk about that too, about some of the ways that you can tell a person that has an ego. I didn't do everything, but there's a couple of things that I wrote down that are some of the signs of a Negro with the ego.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Nisi, how you doing?
Can you hear me? I'm having a little trouble on this headset. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Nisi. How you doing there?
I'm doing good. I think I got to change headsets, and I might have to call back because I'm having some trouble on this headset.
Okay.
Okay. We'll be here.
All right.
Go ahead, Rick.
Oh, hey, and you know, as you know, Rick Moon always has his own definition of Negroes with egos, and I put it all in together, and not just Negro or ego, because everybody knows what Negro is, and everybody knows what ego is. But Rick Moon get ready to tell you what Negroes with egos are.
Uh-huh.
And this is the Moon definition of Negroes with egos.
Okay.
And so-called indigenous people who through selfishness and or greed place themselves above all other indigenous beings who have a different view from their own, causing them to make attempts to take out anyone who disagrees with or asks questions that they can't answer, no matter what the disagreement is. This is due to a total disconnect from Earth God nature for personal or artificial benefits gained from ignorance or compromise.
Wow.
My father-in-law.
So
You got a picture of him in there?
So how does the Negroes with egos help us? What is their purpose?
Their purpose is to ensure that their agenda stays, and like I said in the definition, some of them are compromised, because by reading that thing earlier, that sounded like a little compromise in there too, and
so what do you mean by compromise?
Well, they get certain personal benefits, or they might even be getting paid, to say what they say, because because in this note, this guy is not, he's supposed to be an indigenous person, but he's speaking for everybody else too.
Yes.
He's speaking for us, calling us, who we are. He's talking about Pale Indians, which he's not one of them, but he's speaking for them.
Well,
what race do you think this person is?
What was that?
What race do you think this person is?
Oh, he's an indigenous brother.
Okay.
Well, what I have to say about that,
and a very knowledgeable brother too.
Yeah,
but,
that just sounds like good old-fashioned hate mail to me.
That's all it is.
Ego.
Yeah.
And
ego, man.
Also, the thing, this guy also was in African Americans, ain't African, but he was put out because he was disrespected a female.
Okay, that's the backstory to this.
So it's a little revenge in that too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you got to throw that disclaimer out first. I see what's going on now, man. I see what's going on.
So on top of that, here's the point. Negroes with egos. I understand what kind of system we living up under. And I understand that a lot of times it's easier for us to attack each other than to attack, like Rick said, the system that we're all beholden under. We all suffering under this. But to some people, if we fight each other, it makes it look like progress is being made, and it ain't. So, what the brother said in his letter, this is an open call to anybody. You can, and this is my point, we're not getting. I was brought up under the Afrocentric. I was brought up under that, but I had sense enough to always ask questions, and I do that on everything if what I'm seeing is true. And this is what the brother is saying. I'm saying that transatlantic slave trade didn't happen. Now, give me some proof that it happened. And nobody can give proof. All they can do is go in what somebody wrote down. But you can write down anything, because that's what we've been going by all along anyway. So the point is, we can't even discuss that. If you saying that some people came over here from a ship from Africa, don't tell me that bullshit that they got a ship in the book. I don't want to hear that. Give me that. Tell me how it happened. And nobody has been able to do that.
And the part where you throw everything out of the window that person said was when they said, who cares on what our history was. What do you mean, who cares? Every other race knows their back history and their backstory. That's how they became the race that they are now.
Right. And
you know,
and so
we the only ones that want to just run away from the truth, you know.
Right. And
the truth hurts.
And why?
I mean, because these people been taught something else all their life. You know, it's like growing up. You know, your mama tell you Santa Claus, and then you get of that age, and you're kind of disappointed when you find out, you know. You're like, why didn't you just tell me in the first place, you know, it was you?
Because
as opposed to coming up with this fictitious character.
Because like Rick just said, Negroes with egos. None of our mamas, none of our grandmamas told us that we came over here in no damn slave ship. This is the problem. See, we try to get out there in the world and try to be something in the world, and we forget our family ties. That's one of the disconnects that we always have. We cut ourselves off from the land. We cut ourselves off from the family, and we out there floating in space in these cities somewhere is getting eaten alive. Can you mute your phones, please?
Yes.
If you're going to be making noise in the background, just mute your phone. That's all. So that's my point. The ego is this. Look, man, we getting slaughtered. And I'm thinking that if we think that we're from here, the African Americans believe that they belong a place, and that place is right here in Central North America. I think we'll look at ourselves a little bit different and look at our mission as a whole lot different. So, Rick, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, yeah. And also, here's a couple of signs. You know, I wrote down a couple of things, you know, the signs of a person that has an ego, a Negro with the ego. Some of the things that they do is their word trumps everybody else's, or their beliefs trump everybody else's. Nobody, you know, like this dude said, he's speaking for Pale Indians. And I like to meet those Pale Indians that he's talking about. I like to meet a few of them. They downgrade anyone that has a different opinion than their own. They can speak on everybody's behalf, which I was telling you earlier. They mix artificial and natural things together.
That's a biggie.
In nature, because and if you're talking about the ecosystem here in so-called America, no Pale Indians connect to the ecosystem in North America. No Pale Indians with long, straight hair.
Let's get
sore thumbs.
Let's get Nisi into the conversation.
You come to the forest with me, and I'll bring a few of my peeps. And let's see who fits in and who stick out like a sore thumb.
So what you're saying is the Pale Indians that you see walking around claiming that they are the Native Americans, aren't you saying that they don't fit in with nature nowhere in North America?
Nowhere in North America.
So who are they?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know where they come from. But what I do know is they don't come from here. I don't even think they're from this planet. Because you don't destroy what created you. No one destroys what created them. You ever see, does anything, you know, in nature destroys its whole habitat?
Nope.
So that tells me that they're not from, they're aliens as far as I'm concerned. I don't know where they're from. To be honest with you, I don't know where they're from, but I know they ain't from here.
Let's bring Nisi into the conversation. Nisi, Negroes with egos. What do you think?
Hey, family. Hey, crew. That's our Achilles heel. That's who they are. People within our collective who have egos, they are always on a mission. They usually have an agenda. That's the first thing. And the ego is really it's basically almost your evil self, because we have different parts of our psyche. We know that, if you've ever read anything about psychology, understand it, we are complex beings, but the ego really is tantamount to your evil self. It's power-driven, it's greed-driven, it's driven on destruction. Can you think of anything that the ego does, basically, that's good?
No.
I can't.
Me either.
So Rick, what are you saying, Rick? What is a good ego checking mechanism for all of us, or for those of us who sometime we can be on our soapbox sometime? What are some of the ways that our egos can be checked, or how we can check ourselves on that?
I think the best way, and unfortunately everybody's not going to do this, but this is the best way. To me, I relate everything to nature, because I know nature is absolute truth. So I relate to its nature, for example, we let other people teach our children. So I look at nature. I don't see cheetahs taking their cubs to the lions and let them teach it, but they both cats. I don't see hawks taking their young to the eagle's nest for extra activity, scholastic activity. They both birds. The same thing, in my opinion, the same thing goes on with so-called people.
Rick, on that same note, the ego is the driver of the disconnect. Think about it. I mean, I'm just listening to you, loving every bit of it. The ego is the driver of the disconnect. It is the driver of the malice. It is the driver of the majority of the things that are wrong. And it doesn't care anything about nature, because it has already disconnected itself from nature. So when you allow the ego to be in the driver's seat, then you're just going to be disconnected from everything that is going to be relative to nature and the universe itself. Okay, but, the universe is going to right itself, so it doesn't matter about your ego.
Correct. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you was listening earlier when I broke down my own definition of what a Negro with an ego is, and I specifically stated that it was someone who's had a disconnect with Earth, God, nature. A total disconnect, because a person connected to nature wouldn't say those type of things.
That's why I look at ego as ignorance,
Right.
And that's why you really could find those letters in ignorance, ego, and it's basically you're ignorant to the lack of communication. You, as they say, you're blocking your blessings. You're blocking yourself from learning something, as opposed to having your head up your ass so much you could, just relax and learn something and communicate with somebody, man. When you have ego, most times it's a one-sided conversation.
Right.
Everybody agree or disagree.
And a lot of times the egos come into play when they get their feelings hurt. As a matter of fact, definitely when most of the time, and then they'll start doing stuff like put your business out for the whole world to see.
Right. And it's basically like a form of revenge. Like maybe they see something that they might misread from you, and instead of asking or talking about it, they want to show that they're better than you. They can obtain what you have, whether it's this material item or it's just knowledge, they have it as well, even more.
Right. And everything, and as you heard in that letter there, everything is negative. Nothing positive.
Right. Yeah.
Everything is negative. That's not consciousness. And I read the definition of consciousness, and that's not consciousness. That's ego.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when was the last time any of you guys have climbed a tree?
Have done what, brother?
When was the last time you climbed a tree?
As a matter of fact, but I jumped up in a tree last week.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I hate to sound weird, but yeah, I was about a week or two ago, but I work at a school, so I had to get a kid down chasing a squirrel.
All right, well, check this out. Coming this spring, Project Reconnect is going to be coming up. It's going to spring forth. Project Reconnect is a project that is going to connect the African American back with his ancestral homeland here on Earth. So what we're going to be doing come springtime is going out wherever you live in the country, go out and get acquainted with nature. We're going to be posting more of it on African Americans Ain't African, but Project Reconnect, it'll be coming up this spring. So when all this snow melt, when it starts to warm up again and when it starts to get green again, going outside and get connected to your ancestral homeland. And we're going to show you how to do that.
That's evil. That's evil.
That's
this
evil.
Is a cult.
Yeah. Right.
Like the person said, it's a cult. Don't you have to ask people to get in a group with you in order for it to be a cult? Nobody asks nobody anything, man.
Right. No, man, it's what he was saying earlier, brother. You know, we haven't been taught to work together. It's like the sister that I play, Barbara Sizemore, when she comes on. It's like what we're taught. We're taught to dog each other out, man. That's why we had a show, man, so we can just make some sense out of what's going on. Because man, a lot of people out there losing it because the life is so artificial. They can't hang.
Right. Yeah.
They can't hang.
It's hard to be introduced to a new way of thinking for some folks because they're strung along so long, you know. It's actually kind of hard, you know. They want to be lazy and just take the easy way out, as opposed to, you know, getting them brain stem stimulated and brain cells stimulated. You know,
it's the benefits that have come from it.
Right.
I think would solve many of the ills that we have, but we won't even stop to look at it and talk about it, you know, just simply. And so that's why I think
that is, Brother Buck. That's ego blocking them. Right? I would think so. It's part ego.
It's part ego. Well, we're going to go to the phone lines right now. We have a few callers on the line. If any of the callers that have been listening for the past few minutes, we're talking about Negroes with egos. Anything anybody like to share, here's your time now.
Yeah, I guess I'll go. That was in the call. Can I be heard?
Oh, of course you can.
Hey, how you doing, brother? It's Lone Wolf.
What's up, brother? Right. What's your name? Where you calling from, brother?
Yeah, this is Courtney from California, just like Lone Wolf.
Yeah,
man. Yeah,
West
man.
Side?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Yeah, I was really, man, I thought you guys would talk about this for a minute, because I wrote you an email, Buck, and I haven't heard back from you. I was like, oh, my gosh. It was a long, complicated email. It's about this very subject. You know, I felt like my ego was just totally out of whack, you know. I mean, you know, to talk on topic. And, man, I'm just apologizing and just going on about myself. I think Whiny Little Bitch was one of Rick's, what he was saying in that definition. Anyway, yeah, basically Whiny Little Bitch. Man, you don't understand. It's like I'm enjoying the conversation so far, man, and so many things I want to talk about. You know, my ego was totally crushed like 2 weeks ago, man. I'd be riding hard for the truth, man. I mean, I'd be going hard. I called another radio show like 2 weeks ago, man, talking about this very subject. You know, and we're actually talking about the God complex and the white man. Okay, it's a similar sort of show, you know, like a white supremacy show, and anti-white supremacy. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know, I'm trying to give them an example of how. You know, how the white man feels like God. You know, he's talking, and I was telling him about Roots, how Roots was plagiarized, And then I just, just flat out said it. We've been conditioned so badly. It's like I could say something to you right now, and the way you react to it is, I want you to watch it. And I'm like, you're the Indian. And it was just, oh no. Like, how you gonna say you just gonna throw away Ivan Sotomayor? You just gonna throw away John Henry Clark? And I'm like, brother, or she goes, brother, if you don't give me 2 books, this is coming from a former Christian, by the way. You don't give me 2 books on why we are the Indian, I gotta cut this conversation short. It's like, all right, okay. First book, you guys still with me?
Yes.
All right. Totally quiet, I had to check. First book, America being the latest, most accurate description of the New World, MDC LXXI, 1571. Okay? And, you can tell right off the back the propaganda piece. Some explain to her now, there's a unicorn in there, there's a dragon, and there's some cannibals. But when you look through it, hold up. You telling me, because there's a unicorn, I was like, wait, hold on now. It's a propaganda piece. Now you got listening. Now you telling me you coming with unicorns and dragons, and I'm trying to talk, man. I was so, and I just blew up. Just 1828, copper color racist, 2003 Oxford Dictionary, the word nigga. Man.
Hey man.
So.
This is what seriously, what you're gonna find out sometime, that the information that you get sometime isn't for everybody. You can share it, but a lot of time it's just for you, because you gotta grow. This isn't like we spinning around this planet every day, brother. Whether you believe it or not, you may think things stay the same, but they constantly changing. It's constantly in flux. The information you get for you is to keep you moving along. A lot of people, they don't care. They're comfortable where they're at. But if you look at the youth, and that's why I say share with the youth. If you look at the youth, the faces of the youth are hungry because they see their parents suffering. And so, I wouldn't get into it. I mean, I would share the information, but getting into it, arguing and fussing and fighting, when I know sometimes it's hard. But you'll get there. Nisi.
Try, man, try.
Oh, brother, you gonna make it, man. Like Rick said, and one thing that Rick always talks about is nature, and I think nature can be the grounding force for us all.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you get out there, and this is something that we all can do, stand out on that grass with no shoes on after a nice rain, and check out the sun. Just look at the sun. Connect yourself. That sun is giving us energy. We don't even look at the sun. Look at it.
It's traces of vitamin E in the sun,
Go like you say, like climb a tree. That climbing a tree, do that. That's very good exercise. Climb a tree 5 or 6 times. You won't need the gym.
Hey, and here's another thing you can do. Hey, if you want to introduce yourself to the earth, go out and take a peek. On the plants, it's 95% nitrogen. They'll love it. So if that's the person you introduce yourself to, go out and take a leak.
Man, I got this LAPD out here, man. They put that baton on my head while I'm doing that and write me a ticket, man.
Well, man, you can't
I'm
be
peeing
on the.
I'm gonna have to go out.
You can't be peeing on the side of a building, man. We talking about peeing on the side of a tree.
That's the only place they got shrubbery and stuff, like plants and stuff around here, man. Everything concrete around this joker.
Concrete and steel.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
You got to have a little problem in L.A.
Oh, man, brother. It's problems all over.
Yeah, it's problems everywhere. So the
the
ego lone wolf. What are some of the ways when your ego rolls up? What are some of the things that you do to check it?
Well, I always try to put myself in somebody else's shoes, and I try to listen earnestly. Somebody trying to explain something they're passionate about, or even if it's an apology, whatever it is, man, I try to, all ears, man. Like, I try to teach the kids at the job, sometimes they have a fight and one might want to they feel real bad afterwards because they have problems at home and they want to apologize. And the other person won't accept the apology. I explained to them how hard it is for people to humble themselves and admit, not defeat, but just admit that they were wrong. And I think it's the ego in a lot of these kids that won't allow them to, accept the other person's friendship or forgiveness.
How much of the?
So I just think basically, man, you could conquer ego by communication.
That's communicating as well as listening too, right?
Exactly. That's how they go hand in hand. Talking and listening, But, you can learn a lot by listening.
Nisi, have you ever had an ego problem before?
I'm going to have to do a reverse, slightly misogynistic thing on this topic. Ego has more to do with, I think, testosterone, more than anything else. Women, per se, don't have that. We have other issues, but having been married twice, I have sons, and, I'm around men really more than women. That is more of a male aspect of nature. I'm not saying that it is completely that, but it has more to do with that. Women deal with other issues like jealousy, envy. They deal with things like that. Men when it comes down to ego has to do with a certain tenacity and a stubbornness that is inherently more so male. So,
Sister Nisi, you think ego is like when a couple is driving and the guy don't want to listen to the lady and make a left, sweetheart. I got it. That's ego.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what you have to do? You have to be like, okay, we just going to be lost because I ain't going to tell him again. And then if this way that and it happens, oh, baby, don't talk to me. Don't say nothing. Don't say a word. I'm not listening to you. So, it's more so, a male thing, more so.
Is that true, Rick?
You know what? To a certain extent, I agree with her because, and that's because of the system that we live in is almost based on males having big egos. But believe me, there are plenty of females out there that got them too.
Egotistical. Ego. Well, Rick, is there any time that ego can be useful? Can it be helpful? Can it be something that we could use in a life-saving situation or any moment in life where ego may be necessary? A big ego may be necessary.
No, in no case, as far as I'm concerned, in no case does ego have any beneficial things to it. No.
Unless you go way down to his cousin, which I think his cousin is pride. If you go way down on the other side, pride is the ego's cousin, I think.
Right.
Nisi,
but what else?
Yeah.
The other part of it is an individualistic thing. It's individualism. That is a bane. That is a bane for a people. If we have a collective, and we do, and it is typically a cultural thing where we have always had to be interconnected and work together. We've gotten all away from that. So individualism, which is tied to egotistical, egomaniacal, and all of that, it doesn't have any place in the collective. How can you yield to ego and be for the collective? That's an antithesis. They don't go together.
So putting your ego in check for the benefit of the group. You say that rarely happens, Nisi?
You're always going to have and it's called group thing too. So there's a lot of stuff out there about this. So it's all of what we're talking about. You're always going to have people in a group that rise up from the collective and they're more confident than others or whatever. That's always going to be. But when the ego gets out of check and the other people who are the followers, they, have elected this person as the leader. They know when the ego is rampant, and it's up to them to make the ego either get reeled back into check or to disband that leader, and he's no longer the leader.
Okay. Now, Sister Nisi, I'm here this Lone Wolf. I want to play the devil's advocate. Now, out here in Los Angeles, there's a lot of traffic. Now, tell me if this is ego. You let a young lady over in traffic, she wants to get over, and doesn't even wave or anything to acknowledge that you let her over. You got that one. Or you have the one where you're trying to get over, and she act like she can't even see you. And this happens like 99% of the time. A woman will never let you over or never say thank you when you let them over. Is that ego?
That happens all the time. That I thought it was a race thing because most of the time people who look like me will let me over, and then I'm like, you see me trying to get over, but they don't look like me. So that is just an ass, okay? That doesn't have anything.
That's just rude, huh?
That's just an ass.
Okay, cool.
Area code 605-562-3140, African Americans Ain't African Radio. Go check us out at AfricanAmericans.org. We can also be reached on Facebook in the African American Ain't African chat room. And if you come in the chat room, bring your books with you because you're going to need them. Rick, in closing, in closing out on Negroes with Egos, what are your last words, Rick?
My last words are, we are here, all of us, the Negroes with Egos that we're speaking of tonight, all of us have one thing in common. We got the same enemy. Why are we arguing amongst each other over petty stuff?
Rick, Rick, let me ask you this, because this is what I think. I think we do that because we really don't want to face what's in front of us. I think that's what it is. I think we have disconnected ourselves. We're one person, we're an individual, we're a thing, and we have cut ourselves off, and we use these egos, this arguing and all this other stuff, so we won't have to confront the problem.
Right. And also, all of these people who out there want to badmouth us and talk about us and try to get us off the map or whatever, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. All you're doing is really setting yourself up for a fall. Because everybody sees in your words that you got some kind of problem or ego. So if you do get rid of us, the butt kicks ain't gonna stop. These Euros still gonna kick you in your butt. Don't make no difference. So take us out if you want to and see if the butt kick is stopped. I just want to say, please don't be a Negro with an ego. And let's all get along like one Rodney King out in L.A. would say. And everybody have a good night.
Thank you, Rick. Nisi.
You do the same, brother. And Brother Buck, what day is you on the tree day again?
Man, you in sunny Southern California, you can climb a tree anytime.
Man, they got them artificial trees. They got them palm trees, man.
Oh yeah, man, that's
I
terrible.
want to pee on a real tree. I want to pee on a weeping willow or something, man.
Oh man, you're gonna have to go to another place. They don't have weeping willows in California.
Nah, I don't think so.
Hey, well, do me a favor. Why don't you go peel?
Joshua tree, palm tree, anything but a regular tree.
All right,
What the heck is a Joshua tree?
all right. Well, go pee on that Hollywood sign for me, and I'll be happy.
Oh, now I'm gonna do something else on that. I'm a number two. Well, I'll talk to you later on that.
All right.
Wait no good pee on that Hollywood sign.
Well,
I'm gonna be the new Rodney King. I'm gonna get beat so bad peeing on that sign, man.
hey, well,
Hey, I was thinking about this, y'all. Like, now, Rodney King actually got off pretty good, man. The beating he got, the way they shooting these brothers now, huh?
oh yeah, oh
He actually should. Well, he ain't here no more. He got to thank them officers, shake their hand. Thanks for beating me to a bloody pulp
yeah,
instead of shooting me.
yeah, man. So, like I said, the situation is getting worse, and
Yeah, man.
And what are we doing
Now they shooting at the cops, giving them a even more of a reason to just come out with guns blazed, as if they weren't already.
Oh, well, the gun. Well, what they got for the masses, the guns are for the individuals. The weapons they got for the weapons they got for the masses.
Oh, please, brother. Yeah.
And you in Los Angeles, so I know you know.
Yeah, they got sonar stuff. They said they could point to a crowd, make people's head explode.
Yeah.
They just had this, a month ago, I read about, they finally have lasers on these Navy ships. They showed a laser shoot a abandoned ship and blow it up. A laser.
Yes.
You know,
So the guns were always, and this is what we got to understand, the guns is for us, to kill us out so we can kill ourselves.
Right.
So
right.
We're going to have to come with a whole nother power in dealing with what we got to face in front of us. And that's why ego is really not important to us. And the reason I think a lot of brothers doing it, because they'd rather kill each other out than to fight who they got to really fight. And that's all it is. That's what ego is.
Goes back to taking the lazy way out.
Taking the lazy way out. So, Nisi, did you want to close with something with Negroes with egos?
Yeah, I will. I'll do that, Crew. Family, as we end this session, I want to leave you with this. The poem called Aspire, short poem. To teach is to show. You can't teach what you don't know. You can't guide where you don't go, and you can't grow what you don't sow. With that, family, until next time, peace out. Good night.
Good night.
Peace out. Good night, everybody. Hey, brother, Buck.
Yes, sir.
I also was thinking, we're talking about the positive vibrations and stuff like that of just our words alone, and we mentioned the Om. You guys were familiar with that, the Buddhas do it, and
right,
and yeah, I was thinking we close out everybody, even the listeners and us, and we all like different parts of America right now. If we could all just close it out with an Om and just send that positive vibration all throughout. From LA all the way on down to Florida.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with doing that, but we got to research that's how people get.
Well, how about we just try it today and just everybody end it with a Om on the count of three. On the three count, huh? And just hold it, and we just, everybody have a good night. All right, count of three, everybody on. 1, 2, 3. And Brother Kerry, tonight I want you to look in the mirror and say, Negroes with egos. You got me doing it. I was going to say Negroes with egos 5 times without messing up. All right, y'all. Thanks for letting me be a guest on the show this evening. And I hope somebody took something out of the conversation. Good night.
Good. Crazy.